1130 The Tiger, Shreveport Bossier's #1 sports station, and your home for Tim Fletcher in the morning.
The pressure is on Roger Goodell. It kind of keeps it in the news where people are going to have to ask.
That I am perfectly fine with.
Officiating and the way that they're handling it above whatever story they're trying to push out there. You thought you could make that the lead story, but we got one for you.
Catch Tim Fletcher every weekday morning, 6 to 10 a.m. on 1130 The Tiger.
ShreveportHelpWanted.com presents the world's worst boss, the one who posts jobs on huge national job sites, looking for anyone with a pulse. We'll just call him Dave.
Diane, word around the office is you're thinking about quitting.
Dave, I'm sorry you had to find out from someone else.
It's really hard to find great employees like you, so I'd like to make you a counteroffer.
Dave, why are you pulling up your shirt? What is that?
It's a tattoo of your face on my lower back. So what do you say, Diane?
Don't be a Dave. Find your perfect local employee at ShreveportHelpWanted.com. Local jobs that work. ShreveportHelpWanted.com presents the world's worst boss, the one who posts jobs on huge national job sites, looking for anyone with a pulse. We'll just call him Dave.
Alexis, I've reviewed your resume online, and I think you're very professional, punctual, a fantastic listener, and I believe you'd be a great fit at our company.
Dave, we've talked about this. I will not be your employee. I'm your therapist.
Is this reverse psychology?
No, Dave.
Does that mean yes?
We're out of time, Dave.
Don't be a Dave. Find your perfect local employee at ShreveportHelpWanted.com. Local jobs that work.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
Do you have a family? Would you like to help make sure they'll be taken care of if anything were to happen to you? If you answered yes, you probably need life insurance. Now, do you think life insurance is expensive? If you answered yes to that too, you definitely need to give AIG Direct a call. We could find you a $250,000 policy for just $14 a month, which means you could save hundreds of dollars a year. Call us now for a free, no-obligation quote. 1-800-900-1206. Since 1995, we've helped millions of people find out if they could save up to 70% on their term life insurance. See how affordably we can help you protect your family. Call AIG Direct now for your free quote. 1-800-900-1206. You could save up to 70%. That's 1-800-900-1206. 1-800-900-1206.
Hi, it's Adrienne with Coldwell Banker Gosley. Coldwell Banker Gosley has the most in-depth, up-to-the-minute information about our parishes and local neighborhoods. Homes for sale, home prices, who lives in the community, and more. We can even tell you the best place for lunch. See all of the information about Northwest Louisiana, including Shreveport and Bossier City neighborhoods. Take a look at cbgosley.com/towns. That's cbgosslee.com/towns.
Office independently owned and operated.
1130 The Tiger, your home for LSU sports, powered by Jack Spring Electric. KWKH, Shreveport, Bossier City.
Breaks a tackle at the 25, 10-5, touchdown, Tigers!
Shreveport Bossier. The home of LSU sports is 1130 The Tiger.
Good afternoon. It's the Patrick Netherton Show.
Voice of the Demons, right?
Yes.
Touchdown, Demons!
Brined, marinated, or dry rubbed, it's sports the way you like it.
Sports Center top 10 right there!
Talking to the biggest names, bringing you the best interviews.
He actually smokes his beans.
Thank you, Mr. Know-It-All.
The cooler is full, and the brisket is resting.
Just a nice little pull, and it comes right apart. That's perfect.
We eat ribs with this dude.
Here's your master of ceremonies, the Kansas City Barbecue Society certified expert.
Throw the fade, looking for Ferguson.
Got it!
Patrick Netherton.
13-yard touchdown. Demons are back in it. And good afternoon. We welcome you into the Patrick Netherton Show right here on 1130 The Tiger. Happy to have you with us. We are here discussing all things sports. A lot of things to discuss, and we look forward to doing that with you as the show progresses. But, of course, I can't do this alone. I have to have the help of the man, the myth, the legend, the king of the Lollipop Guild, ladies and gentlemen. I hit him. The button bar's frozen. Thought I was going to have to sing it myself.
Hey, boy!
What is up, Hambone?
It's not Monday anymore.
No, but it sure feels like
and
one.
It sure smells like it again.
Oh, woo.
I know when you went back out the door, I caught the whiff of the paint or turpentine or whatever they're using.
Did you say turpentine?
Turpentine.
Like Valentine's Day?
It is. It's like Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Except turpentine, it's sweeter.
Turpentine is when it is.
There's a big corn syrup and turpentine shortage.
Yeah. By the way, the corn syrup thing is hilarious.
It is. It really is.
Now you have the Bud Light people coming, or the Miller Lite people coming back out and saying, well, we never said we use high fructose corn syrup, which is whatever, that's the one that everyone freaks out about. And there's, we use corn syrup and it's delicious. And it's why, Miller Lite's better tasting and still half the carbs or what. I mean, it's like a whole beer thing going on. We do have to discuss the Super Bowl commercials, by the way. We kind of got into it a little bit yesterday, but we'll discuss it with a little bit more. We'll kind of get into it a little bit deeper coming up here in just a moment.
All right.
Thank you, Matthew. But we are here. We are pleased to have you with us. There are multiple ways you can be a part of this show. It is very easy. All you have to do is call 318-320-1130, 318-320-1130. If you cannot call, and that's why the text line is so good, if you can't call, you can always text 318-657-0HAM, 657-0426. You can text us and let us know what's on your mind and what you would like to discuss. And then, of course, you can find us on multiple social media platforms. We are on Twitter. At Netherton Show is the show tweet. Then you can also hit us up. He is at Heyboy Rogers, and I am at PT Netherton. So if you want to find us on the Twitters, that is the way to do it. Then, of course, we're also on Facebook. We don't have a good sounder for Facebook, unfortunately. Here's a sounder for Facebook. We are selling your privacy.
Thank you, Mr. Know-It-All.
So on Facebook, you can find us, facebook.com/Netherton Show. We do a live stream every time I'm in studio. Now, if I'm not in studio, we don't do the live stream. We still haven't figured that technology out yet to get us on. Otherwise, I mean, I could technically live stream from anywhere, really. But you wouldn't see me. You would just see the camera pointing at an empty studio. You'd hear my voice, so if if you actually listen to the show via the Facebook stream, it would work for you. But yeah, that's what we do. We just put a little fake Patrick in here. Yeah. Oh, baby. Oh, man. Thing's huge, man. I don't know what to do with the thing. You're right, Tiny E. You're right, Little E. Yeah, I mean, I guess we could have a little cardboard cutout of me that we put over here in when I'm gone, but that seems kind of crazy. Nevertheless, we are available on Facebook, facebook.com/Netherton Show, if you want to follow along there and comment. And we take comments from the text line 6570-HAM. We take comments from the Facebook page. We take comments off of Twitter. At Netherton Show, and we'll also take your phone calls if you want. And look, if you just want to, you want to send us a piece of mail. Like, I don't know what the address is here at the old Radio Ranch, but if you wanted to send a piece of mail, maybe you're thinking to yourself, you know what, I really want to comment on what someone said 3 days ago. Then send us mail to 6341 Westport Avenue, Shreveport, Louisiana 71129. Rogers just happens to have an envelope from Town Square in front of him. So there you go. There's all the different ways that you can be a part of this here program if you would like to take part in it. Got a good guest lined up for today because we still are going to talk Super Bowl. And that means we're bringing in John Orand of Sports Business Journal, Sports Business Daily. If you don't follow along with all the sports business guys, if that's something that fascinates you, you're not going to find a better crew of people to follow along with than Sports Business Journal, Sports Business Daily. Those guys are absolutely fantastic and do just a phenomenal job of reporting. They were telling you about what the ratings were, the ratings in New Orleans, all that stuff. And we're going to talk with John Orand coming up at 4 o'clock about the ratings, what the ratings mean, what exactly you can expect. And maybe if the boycott in New Orleans actually has any sort of realistic effect on the NFL. I mean, again, we talked about this yesterday. The rating was the lowest it's ever been for New Orleans. It was dead last among the 56 metered markets, and yet because New Orleans is, I believe, 50th in market size, the net effect was only about 175,000 households, I believe. So it wasn't like it was a massive deal. But, the ratings ended up showing that that fewer people tuned in. Their rating was it was fewer than 100 million people that were watching. And 100 million is kind of the mark, right? If you're over 100 million, it's a decent broadcast. If you're under 100 million, I think it was like 98 point something million that they were under. So it didn't work out quite right. The ratings weren't exactly what you would expect. Now, does that have anything to do with New Orleans? Maybe, probably not. More of it probably has to do with the fact that this is, it was a Super Bowl that was boring for a lot of time, unless you were a big defensive guy. It was a very boring Super Bowl for the most part until the very end. And then, at the very end, it was actually pretty exciting, and we had some good stuff. But it took until about 8 minutes before it was actually any fun. So we'll talk to John Orand coming up at 4 o'clock. We'll get his thoughts on what he saw and the ratings and the broadcast, and he's going to give us all of his opinions on that. He is a terrific guest as far as that concerned. Raj, guess what?
What, Patrick?
I'm going to mention this a few more times before Friday, but we have a very, very large guest booked for Friday. Very excited about this. All right. Friday, 3:45.
Yeah.
We are going to talk to former NFL Director of Officiating, Dean Blandino.
Wow.
Yeah. Dean Blandino, who you hear on Fox broadcasts all the time. He's always, chiming in from New York with his opinions on what they're seeing, if a call was correct, that kind of thing. Well, Dean Blandino of Fox will join us coming up. He's the guy that actually, I think it was Peter King, but I'm not 100% certain on that. Basically said, look, at this point, just open the vault for Dean Blandino or Mike Pereira, and say, look, we'll pay you, $3 million a year, $5 million a year, whatever. Come back and help us recover our public image in terms of officiating for the NFL. Now, will they do that? Who knows? But, Al Riveron is not getting it done. So there was talk that maybe Al Riveron would. You all right over there, Rogers? Got pages coming out? I didn't know that still existed. So the intercom on the phone. Hey, everybody! There's pizza in the break room. Ah, that was interesting. Yeah, put that on the old Do Not Disturb. Anyway, so if you would... Oh, well, if it's on Do Not Disturb and they're still paging you, there's problems. We might need to evacuate the building then. Did they say evacuate? Did they say there was a bomb threat called in? Like what... Did we hear what the actual content of that message was? Because, maybe we have to get out of here. So, yeah, if there is a bomb threat or, a fire alarm or something, we promise we will not stick it out, all right? We promise we will get out of the building. We'll be first out of the building, all right? We will literally be the first people out of the building. Women and children second behind Rogers and Patrick. That's what we're all about. Uh-oh. Oh, man. All right, so let's tell you what's going on around here. You might hear some noises in the background from time. We didn't expect the intercom to show up. But if you hear some noises in the background from time to time, they have come in and are completely renovated the production room next door. I say they completely renovated. They haven't done it yet. They've stripped it bare. They've all the way down to the studs, basically. And they're now going through.
They've deconstructed. Now
Yes.
they're going to start constructing.
Right. So the next door production studio, we've heard some hammering. That was just hammering we just heard. We've heard some sawing. We've heard some scraping. We've heard a power drill or a power saw. There's more hammering. The question is, at what point do they break through and come in here like they're the Kool-Aid man? Also, I can't promise 100% that Rogers and I aren't just hallucinating all of this, because we are very high on paint fumes right now. They are doing some massive renovations here in the old Radio Ranch. There is primer paint being put down. Or as Rogers says, turpentine with an M. There is a lot of stuff going on here at the old Radio Ranch, and for 2 days now we've been dealing with fumes. So if things get a little giddy in here, a little weird, not that things aren't already weird. I mean, I've talked about pooping at work and cow tongue in my time here. So, not that things don't get a little strange in the old on the old Patrick Netherton show. But if things get stranger than normal, then you may want to alert the authorities, is all I'm saying. Someone may need to come in here and grab us and yank us out of here and maybe give us some oxygen or something. I mean, look, Rogers is used to being mentally altered, in a mentally altered state of mind due to chemical intake of some kind, whether it be, beer or otherwise. Meanwhile, I am not. I mean, the only chemical I'm on is caffeine, and that's just from Diet Coke. I mean, obviously I'm on, no, I'm not high on life, Rogers. Very much not high on life. I'm high on whatever that stuff is in Diet Coke that means you can't remember things. Yeah, see, I can't remember them. Aspartame? Yeah, clearly working. I don't remember what aspartame is. All right, so here's what we're going to do today. Today we've got a lot of things to discuss. I want to kind of go a little bit deeper into the Super Bowl commercials, and even the Super Bowl itself, if you like. We can talk about that. If you had things you liked or didn't like on the coverage. If you have questions for John Orand, I highly recommend you text them to us at 318-657-0HAM, 318-657-0426. Text, and if you have questions about the ratings, the coverage, any of the things surrounding that, please feel free to text us and I'll give your questions. I'll ask them to John Orand when he comes up at 4 o'clock. Also, we have to talk about the NBA. I can't believe we're talking about the NBA right now, but we do. We have to talk about the Anthony Davis trade, because I don't know if Anthony Davis really understood what saying what his agent said meant for his future. I don't know if he understood that. And I feel like if he didn't, then then his agent really did him a large disservice. Keep in mind, here's the other little interesting tidbit of this. Rodgers, do you know who his agent also represents besides him? LeBron James. That is correct. So are you telling me that LeBron didn't get in his agent's ear and said, whatever it takes to get Anthony Davis here, you do it? And now you got all kind of craziness erupting. And Anthony Davis is wanted to play last night but was a healthy scratch. Doesn't know why. Was confused by the whole thing. We're going to clear some of that up for him. Art Briles is back in the mix again in college football at the Division I level. We've got to talk about that. Signing day is coming up tomorrow. We'll tell you kind of what the plans are for the show on signing day. I'm already in the process of lining up coaches all around the area. Rodgers has passed out from the fumes. He's asleep now. Night-night, Raj. So it's if I start babbling and making very little sense or less sense than I normally make, then we'll have to work on that. And all I can say is I really wish that yesterday either there was a camera on Rodgers or I had the wherewithal to take a picture of Rodgers when I told him that we served cow tongue at the Super Bowl party. If you could have seen his face, like there are some things you remember for the rest of your days, Rodgers. You remember where you were when things happened. You remember
absolutely.
You remember certain just things that are emblazoned in your mind that you'll never
Especially
forget.
when it comes to me,
I will never forget your face when I told you that we served cow tongue. Like Raj was kind of just happy-go-lucky, like smiling like he normally does. His face went from smiling and kind of ruddy, red and the way it normally is, to ashen and sullen within a nanosecond. Like I've never seen, it was like the greatest actor of all time changing his facial expression. Someone was like, okay, you're a happy guy, now be sullen. And there it went. It was amazing. I've never seen anything like it. I'll never forget it as long as I live. And I wish, it was one of those things I wish I had actual video evidence of. You know what I should have? I should have gone ahead and recorded it while I was telling it to you just so that we could see it. So this is pretty appropriate. We're not doing it the same way they are. We're inhaling paint fumes here in the exactly. We're I don't know where I am. Oh, I'm sorry. Did they have to bleep that? I mean, we can't say till I got high. I didn't realize that. I was gonna do a radio show, but then I got high because of paint fumes next door down the hall. It's the Patrick Netherton Show right here on 1130. The Tiger will be back.
I was gonna go to class before I got. Come on.
Welcome to Walk-On's Bistro and Bar, where every dish starts from scratch. Fresh ingredients bring our food to life. Mouth-watering cuisine, unique flavors, and we're always more than happy to share our Southern charm and culture. A love of life, family, food, friends, fun, sports, and celebrations. Walk-Ons. It's game day with the taste of Louisiana.
Discount travel sites say they have the best prices, but Hilton.com has the price match guarantee. Look me in the eye. If you find a better rate, they match it and take 25% off. Yeah, well, this is radio, so just stare at the radio. Hilton.com has the best prices. Pinky swear. Or, radio swear. Plus, you can choose your exact room and get free Wi-Fi. Cross my heart, stick a needle in my radio. Expect better. Expect Hilton.
Must be a Hilton Honors member. Applicable terms and conditions at Hilton.com. Pinky swear.
When you fire up a John Deere 1 Series tractor, you can tackle the job without wrestling the attachments. Hook up everything from a front loader to a drive-over mower deck in no time. So you can haul gravel, cut grass, or do any job in between. Because when things just click, work just gets done. And now get a 1 Series for just $99 a month at your nearest participating John Deere dealer. Nothing runs like a Deere. Run with us. Search John Deere 1 Series for more. For additional cost information, please call toll-free 855-633-2315.
Let's say you just bought a house. Bad news is, you're one step closer to becoming your parents. You'll proudly mow the lawn. Ask if anybody noticed you mowed the lawn. Tell people to stay off the lawn. Compare it to your neighbor's lawn. And complain about having to mow the lawn again. Good news is, it's easy to bundle home and auto through Progressive and save on your car insurance, which, of course, will go right into the lawn. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discount not available in all states or situations.
What if every time you went out, you could cash in? Now with the Capital One Saver Card, you earn 4% cash back on dining and entertainment, like celebrating every year the crew gets older. Or when you and your crew are courtside during overtime. No matter your reason for going out, now you have 4 more. Introducing the new Saver Card from Capital One. Earn 4% on dining and 4% on entertainment. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Capital One Bank, USA N.A.
Imagining a better bank starts with looking at the savings rates most banks offer and saying, really? Capital One is building something better. You can open a Capital One savings account with one of the nation's best savings rates from anywhere, like here, or here, or here. One of the nation's best savings rates. Opened online, at a Capital One location, or from anywhere. That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
For consumers only. Offered by Capital One N.A. member FDIC. Copyright 2018 Capital One.
Hi, I'm Greg Tilley. Visit our stores in Bossier City and Shreveport for the best buys anywhere on a new 16-wide or 18-wide home, as low as $34,995. We deliver up to 150 miles, and our prices won't be beat at Greg Tilley's in Bossier City and Shreveport.
I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's premier home purchase lender. Today's fluctuating interest rates can leave you with unexpected higher mortgage payments. At Quicken Loans, we've created a new way to protect you from unpredictable interest rates so you can buy a home with certainty. It's called Rate Shield, and here's how it works. With Rate Shield, you can lock your interest rate while you shop for a new home. So if rates go up, you don't have to worry. And here's the best part. If rates go down, you get the lower rate. With Rate Shield, we really have you covered. Here are more reasons why you'll want to work with America's largest mortgage lender. For 9 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the 5th year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Rate Shield. Another way we can save you money on your mortgage. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Based on Rocket Mortgage data in comparison to public data records. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year purchase transactions. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender license in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply.
11:30 The Tiger, your home for LSU sports, powered by Jack Spring Electric.
Let's get to the meat of the matter with producer Rogers Hampton.
Hey, boy!
Here's your master of ceremonies, Patrick Netherton.
If it's LSU sports, it's on 11:30 The Tiger.
We welcome you back. It is the Patrick Netherton Show right here on 11:30 The Tiger. He is Rogers Hampton. I am Patrick Netherton. We're pleased to have you with us. We hope you will join us. Hope you will comment and share and like and look. If you're on the Facebook page, please. I'm already starting to lose my ability to speak English now. The fumes are getting to me. Seriously, I left here yesterday with a headache. Rogers definitely did. Rogers was here most of the day. And yesterday I left with a bit of a headache, and I'm already starting to develop one now. And it's a different headache than working with Rogers every day. Like that's a different headache than the one I'm experiencing right now. The working with Rogers every day headache is different. That one's kind of more between the eyes. This one is sort of back over the ears. You know, it's just a little bit of a different headache. But we hope you will, again, if you enjoy the show, please, let people know, encourage folks to tune in, tell people to download the app and listen, or, hey, get on the Facebook page and be a part of it. Again, if you enjoy the show, I would ask that you tell somebody. Let's try to grow the show. I'm bringing you guests that no one else in this market is bringing you. Nobody else is getting Dean Blandino, the former vice president of former director of officiating for the NFL, who's now one of the up-and-coming stars at Fox. Like, nobody's bringing you this stuff in this market. So I hope you will help me out and tell folks about it. And if you know anybody that maybe wants to sponsor the show, let them know about it a little bit. That would be nice. So, we're taking sponsorships. We're trying to get more people involved. We want people to be a part of this thing. So please tell everyone, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your loved ones, tell your barber, tell your doorman. Do people have doormen in Shreveport? Like, is there a building in Shreveport that has a doorman in it? Because we have a few living areas. We have some lofts or whatever downtown, but I don't think any of those have doormen. Like, is there a doorman anywhere? And every time I say that, all I can think of is Knocked Up when they're going out. You're just a doorman. Craig Robinson's the doorman. Yeah. Look, I'm not saying you're too old for the earth. I'm just saying you're too old for this club. One of my favorite scenes of any movie. Anyway, I don't think there's any doormen anywhere. I mean, maybe at a business or something. I don't know. Anyway, I digress, which I'm as high as I am right now. I'm not surprised I'm digressing. I'm more surprised that Rogers and I haven't just given up the show to go eat Cheetos or something. Yeah, as I say, we're going to go get snacks when we come back.
I mean, I know what a big barbecue fan you are. I know it's not exactly the same, but there are some barbecue rib potato chips in the machine.
Oh, are they the Lay's barbecue?
I don't know.
Now, I do like a good barbecue Lay's potato chip. It's my favorite.
I'm not sure if it is or not.
Well, now I'm going to have to make a trip. All right, Rod, you handle the rest of the segment. I'm going to go. I'm going to go take a look at the vending machine and see what's in there. All right, so we got a few things to discuss, and again, coming up at the top of the hour, we'll talk with John Oran from Sports Business Journal, get his thoughts on the coverage, the ratings, what went down in the Super Bowl. A few things that we need to discuss. We haven't really gone through the Missouri penalties and the response to them. We will do that. We also have, by the way, signing day tomorrow, National Signing Day. Tomorrow we'll have Brad Laird on from Northwestern State. We'll have an interview with him. And then we're also efforting all the rest of the coaches around the state and a few from outside of the state that we're not going to spoil. We're hoping to get a few guys in as well. But we're definitely working on the coaches that are around the state, and feel pretty confident we'll get all of them in before the next week or two to discuss, signing day and moving forward with all of their programs. Feels like college football in Louisiana is in a good place. It feels like all of the programs that all the D1 programs are kind of moving in the right direction. ULL had the nice bowl win. ULM just missed out on a bowl but was eligible. They had a great year. Grambling, obviously, with Broderick Fobbs is doing good things. Brad Laird down at Northwestern State had their best year in a while and, missed out on being above 500 for the first time since, I believe, 2007. And just barely missed out on it. I think it was like 13 points away from having a winning record. So a lot of good stuff going on around this area. So we're going to try to get everyone on and let everyone have a chance to shine. So we're going to make that happen. And, of course, coming up on Friday at 3:45, we'll have Dean Blandino, former NFL Director of Officiating and now one of Fox Sports' terrific officials, observers who gets on the air from New York and discusses penalties as games progress. Let's start with the mess down at Southern Miss right now, because this is a bad story, and it's one that is developing. I'll get some people in to talk about it because it's not a done deal yet, but it appears to be heading toward being a done deal. And that is Art Briles coming in as the offensive coordinator at Southern Miss. Now, if you'll remember, Art Briles had a really big issue with what happened in terms of his team acting out. I believe it ended up being allegedly 31 different players accused of 52 different sexual assaults type offenses. That's something that's an issue. That's something that's a problem. And, of course, Art Briles got fired. The AD, Ian McCaw, got fired. It was a mess. But now you're starting to see, and look, we are we are a big society on second chances, and we have a very short memory span when it comes to a lot of these things. So now you're starting to see, Kendall Briles, who was, he was on the staff. He was involved. Kendall Briles has been hired as offensive coordinator at Florida State. Now you're talking about Art Briles, his father, and the man who was the head coach, being interviewed as the potential offensive coordinator for Southern Miss. And we're seeing, Rich Rodriguez is back in the fold. Hugh Freeze is back in the fold. You're starting to see these guys who were, had these sort of disgraceful exits starting to move back into things. You look at the reporting from the Star Herald down in Hattiesburg said that Briles was on the campus yesterday to interview for the offensive coordinator position. And then, of course, there is the issue with not only an ongoing investigation into Baylor's football program, but there already have been 5 Title IX lawsuits that have been settled by the school itself. Meanwhile, the AD that I mentioned, Ian McCaw, who got let go, is now the AD at Liberty, and he hired Hugh Freeze, by the way, to coach Liberty. Ian McCaw told CBSSports.com last week that he believes Briles will be largely exonerated and apparently believes he'll be in the running for a head coaching job next year. Meanwhile, as we mentioned, Kendall Briles is now heading to Florida State. Art Briles was in the CFL, you'll remember. He got hired to the Hamilton Ticats, but the CFL got such backlash about it that he was let go. Rogers, do you know where Art Briles has been since he was let go of the Hamilton Ticats?
I do not have a clue.
I didn't either until I just read it.
Okay.
Art Briles most recently served as the head coach of the Estra Guelfi Firenze squad in the Italian Federation of American Football, the IFAF, I guess.
And that's in this country?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It doesn't say where.
Huh.
Well, now you got me curious, Raj.
Yes.
Now I got to look up and see where
what this is.
The Estra Guelfi Firenze. And again, I'm probably
Sounds
pronouncing
like a disease.
I'm probably pronouncing all of that incorrectly. No doubt. It is apparently in Italy, Raj. Is it really? Yeah. So there you go. It's the American Football League in Italy.
Huh.
And the only reason I say that, Raj, is because their website is in Italian.
That might be a giveaway right there.
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
but Google gives me the option to translate this page, so I'm going to take that opportunity to translate and see. Let's see what we can find out, Raj. This is the translated version. The football team of Florence, so it's in Florence, Italy. The football team of Florence, founded in January 2000 by a group of friends and enthusiasts, in a few years it has collected titles and great satisfactions. Always love a good translated website. Yeah. They're always great. So in their last game, Raj, but by the way, they're the Florence Guelfi or Guelfi. I don't know what that means. I now have to ask to translate from Italian into English. Their last game, Rogers, they beat the Turin Jaguars 44-6.
Wow, I thought Turin had a better defense.
Yeah, you would have thought they'd have slowed them down a little bit.
After last year?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
they must have some injuries on defense. I mean, because Turin usually shrouds the other team's offense.
Wow. Give yourself a round of applause for that. No. Give yourself a round of applause for that, please. Please. Thank you. You dropped a Shroud of Turin reference on us in here.
You can thank the turpentine.
No, I'm telling you, turpentine.
And woohoo! It's only going to get better.
Oh. I keep loving the fact that you're calling it the turpentine.
It's turpentine, like Clementine.
Yeah. Yeah, just put M's where the N's normally are.
There you go, because I like M&M's.
Yeah, why not? Or, you get, I prefer the W and W's myself.
Upside down.
Yeah,
okay, I see.
All right, so that's where Art Briles has been. My question is, Raj.
Yes, sir.
Should Art Briles, at this point, what now, 2 years removed from all the scandals?
God, it's only been 2?
Yeah.
It seems like it was 10 years ago.
Because
wasn't all that happening when we were doing the Brando show?
No,
not
that long ago.
I thought it had been like 4 years since Briles got popped with all that. They've had 2 different head coaches at Baylor since then.
No, they hired
Grobe and Rule, or whoever.
Oh, that's right. Now. They had Grobe for a year. 3 years. 3 years. Yeah.
All right.
Because I forgot about Jim Grobe.
Yeah,
did
for a year he kind of just was the
and then Matt Rule came in. I was thinking about Matt Rule's in his second year, I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. It's been 3 years since that all went down. My question is, 3 years removed from that, and with the investigation not being done yet, 3 years out, and all of these unbelievable allegations of, Baylor hosting sex parties and whatnot for these recruits, and I mean, just go read some of this stuff. It is amazingly horrific. Is this appropriate? Right? Is it long enough? Is there contrition? What? I don't know. Are we good with Art Briles getting back into college football at this point, or is this a scenario whereby Art Briles should never be allowed back into college football?
Because that was the talk immediately when all that was happening.
I mean, it's Draco says everyone deserves a second chance. I think that's fine. But Draco, do you give a second chance to a guy who had such willful, and again, Ian McCaw says he's going to be largely exonerated when it's all said and done. Maybe he will be. But for now, all we know is everything that is alleged to have happened, apparently he knew about, or at least, had some inkling about. And the buck stops here. He's the head coach. He's got to be responsible. And they've actually changed the language in the penalties for coaches, where now the coaches are ultimately responsible for what goes on within their programs, regardless of if they even know about it or not. If an assistant coach is out recruiting or slipping money under the table to a kid, well, if they get popped for that, even if the head coach didn't know it was going on, he still is going to be held liable for that, as he should. I mean, if you've got a guy and if you're hiring guys that are capable of going and recruiting under the table and sending money to people under the table, then you should be held responsible for their actions because you brought them in. You know, as a coach, you have to know what's going on within your program. You have to know. And you have to be willing to bring in your assistants and say, hey, this is not a guy that we normally would be able to sign. How'd we get this kid? And if there's impropriety, you got to let that guy go. And so I think it's interesting here that Art Briles is now being talked about as being the offensive coordinator at Southern Miss, and I'm not sure until the entire investigation is complete, why do we let Art Briles coach college football? That's my question. While the investigation is ongoing, and apparently it's not done yet, why are we letting Art Briles around college-age kids? Because if you go read some of the allegations, they are insane. They are wild. And if you're okay with letting this guy back into a power or a position of influence over college-age kids, I'm not sure I'm good with you. I'm not sure I'm good with that. You know what? Sometimes everybody doesn't deserve a second chance. Does Charles Manson deserve a second chance? Not that, that Art Briles and Charles Manson are equitable, but not everybody does deserve a second chance. Sometimes whatever you did the first time is so heinous and bad that you don't get a do-over, right? You just have to go do something else. And whether that means he goes and coaches in the NFL or he has to go coach in Florence, Italy, or whatever, that may be the case. But until such a time as the legal process goes through and exonerates him, I'm not sure that we should be putting him back in charge of college-age kids. Because when he was the last time, a lot of really awful stuff went down. And I'm not sure we should put him in that position again. Granted, it's a coordinator position. It's not the head coaching position. But, man, that's a PR firestorm that I'm not sure Southern Miss wants to be a part of, is all I'm saying. Be very interested to see if they go through with it. We know he's been interviewed. The question is, will it move forward? And if it does, I promise we'll, A, have more reaction, and B, we'll have some folks on to talk about it. We're gonna definitely cover this as we kind of follow along. All right, we got to talk about Anthony Davis coming up in just a bit. Told you we'd get to more Super Bowl commercial talk. We need to kind of roll through those. Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll talk to John Oran. He'll fill us in on what exactly we saw from the coverage, the ratings, New Orleans' boycott response. Does that mean anything? We'll talk all about that coming up. It's the Patrick Netherton Show on 1130 The Tiger.
To the sky, and everything is turning gray. All I made was one mistake.
Welcome to Walk-On's Bistro and Bar, where every dish starts from scratch. Fresh ingredients bring our food to life. Mouth-watering cuisine, unique flavors, and we're always more than happy to share our Southern charm and culture. A love of life, family, food, friends, fun, sports, and celebrations. Walk-Ons. It's game day with the taste of Louisiana.
I love cuddling on that couch with you.
I love cuddling on the couch with you,
I'm going to
too.
put
Wait,
my
are you talking
feet
to me or the
underneath
doggies?
your legs because my toesies are cold.
Oh, golly. What do you do with these things?
It's so cold in here.
Are they dipped in daiquiris? Seriously.
Maybe we need to turn the heat up.
That's not a bad idea. Is there any way that AccuTemp could put a couch heater in this thing? AccuTemp, 861-2255. Please warm up my wife's feet.
Never saw it as a problem when I was younger. 2 cigarettes, 3 cigarettes. It wasn't a habit. My mom, she was always like, you need to get rid of them. Gave the jewel a real chance and found out I liked it. Found out it really works. The switch was easy. It was a no-brainer, really. This came from her, really.
Patrick made the switch December 2016. Make the switch at JUUL.com. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Working in the warehouse. One of my favorite 70s songs, Nicole. Working in the warehouse now. Nicole from First Choice Personnel joins us. You've got some warehouse jobs you're trying to fill.
I always have warehouse positions available. Anytime, give me a call, 797-7810.
You're probably too young to remember that song, aren't you? Working in the warehouse.
Yeah.
You don't remember that one, do you, Nicole?
I do.
Oh, see, there we go. Nicole knows it. 797-7810. Sing it with me. Working in the warehouse now.
Yo, we driving, we living our best life and my car smells fresh.
Yeah,
but we
boy.
weren't always thriving. It was you, girl.
Told you so.
Who pointed out that smell? Right. Now it's all fun. The odor's gone. Febreze car works so well. Come on, keep driving. Let's go.
Oh boy, your car smells
Febreze
nice.
car, yeah, let's go. That's right. No more odors in my ride now. Let's go.
Oh yeah, we made it so nice.
Febreze car, keep riding. Let's go. And now the world can say.
Breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
With the Capital One Quicksilver Card, you earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase everywhere. It's easy. That's just the way I like it.
Oh, that's the way, I like it, that's the way, I like it,
Woo! The Quicksilver Card from Capital One. What's in your wallet?
that's the way,
Capital One Bank, USA, N.A.
It was her first concert, so we were nervous.
Well, Dad was.
And thanks to Total Wireless, we got her the phone she loved.
It's amazing.
On the nation's largest, most dependable 4G LTE network for a lot less than you'd expect. Now we can always stay connected.
Does it have to be always, Dad?
Hey.
You got this with Total Wireless. Get the nation's largest and most dependable 4G LTE network for $25 per line for 4 lines. Available at Walmart for an everyday low price. Total Wireless, total confidence. Please refer to the latest terms and conditions at totalwireless.com.
Do you dream in color, in sparkling blues, and sun-kissed yellows? In your dreams, do your kids trade technology for time with you? Is fun and relaxation the main agenda? Do your dreams shape your family life and bring you all great joy? Your dreams can be real and lasting, and you can live your dreams every day. Moorhead Pools, where your dreams come true in your own backyard.
People are looking for an employment situation where you're surrounded by folks that you like, doing work that you enjoy, and benefiting humanity. Hey, I know a place that can do all of that and more. Gibbsland Bank and Trust. It's not just a job, it's a career. Visit their website, gibbslandbank.com/careers, and join the great banking team.
Cars that sound like this. Trust Pennzoil Synthetics to protect their engines in extreme conditions. Top racing teams know that Pennzoil Synthetics give them the performance to help them succeed. And your car's engine deserves the same. Because your daily commute is no less important. Get complete protection for top engine performance just like the pros. Visit Pennzoil.com/rebate to save on Pennzoil Synthetics. Terms apply.
Floating through the airwaves like smooth hickory smoke, Patrick Netherton.
Where Shreveport and Bossier come for LSU Sports, 1130, The Tiger.
Oh, man. Going old school here. Amadeus. We welcome you back to the Patrick Netherton Show right here on 1130 The Tiger. Rogers Hampton on the ones and twos. I'm Patrick Netherton. Coming up at the top of the hour, we will chat with John Orand of Sports Business Journal. We'll get his thoughts on what we saw in the Super Bowl, what the ratings were for the Super Bowl, what it means. Ratings we know were down. We'll talk about the boycott in New Orleans, what effect, if any, that might have moving forward. Also discussing the Art Briles situation. So if you are you're interested, you want to talk to us about that, we can. But I didn't spend a lot of time on the Super Bowl commercials yesterday. I kind of threw it in at the end of the show. I wanted to spend a little bit more time. So we got about 7-8 minutes here in this segment, so we're going to talk about it because I think there were 2 or 3 commercials that really won the day. Everything else, I think, was just kind of lost in the ether, so to speak, or in the paint fumes, as the case may be. Rogers and I, high as heck. The clear winner was the NFL 100 spot. I mean, there was no doubt about it. Actually, I saw somebody went through and did a really nice sort of a frame-by-frame look at it to see who all the people were that we missed or didn't notice. By the way, Ed Reed, A, looked incredibly scary. B, looked incredibly good in that jacket. But also C, didn't recognize him at all. When I saw that guy, I'm like, who is that guy stalking that other guy and about to tackle him in that crazy jacket? And then I realized it was Ed Reed. Took me a while to figure that out. But he broke down, seen a couple of them that, where they broke down everything that went on, who everybody was. Like, I didn't realize when they were throwing the pass, it was a throw to Larry Fitzgerald and Odell Beckham, but there were 3 DBs in there as well. I think it was Jalen Ramsey, Patrick Peterson, I think, was in there, and then one other. And so you kind of had as someone said, it was, I can't remember which quarterback threw that pass. I think it was no, it wasn't Eli. I don't remember. Anyway, the quarterback that threw that pass, they were breaking down and said, look, it makes perfect sense they're throwing into double coverage. Whoever that quarterback was. And you had Peyton Manning dumping his 5 rings into Baker Mayfield's hands to go. He never did anything the rest of the commercial. You just saw him stand up, take his 5 rings off, put them in Baker Mayfield's hands, and then walk off. Joe Montana got a throw in to Jerry Rice. I love the comment that was made during it that in this article that I read, I think it was SB Nation, basically said, Jerry Rice has his hand up to say throw it to me because that was his thing. When he knew he was open, he threw the hand up. Well, someone said, I guarantee you, the author of this piece said, I guarantee you Jerry Rice thinks he could catch 1,000 yards today in the NFL. Like, he still believes that. But such a good spot, all the former guys. I love the fact that Barry Sanders didn't get touched during that ad. I still think Barry Sanders is the best running back of my lifetime. I love seeing that. Emmitt Smith. And by the way, I got more yards than him, in case y'all didn't know, whatever. Eli Manning was in the background. Drew Brees and Alvin Kamara were hanging out. Marshawn Lynch was the instigator. He was the only guy not in a tuxedo, not dressed up. He also was obviously trying to go after the cake. Like, everything in that commercial worked. It was the only thing that didn't work in that commercial was Roger Goodell.
And he was probably added to it.
Yeah. So we mentioned yesterday the Bud Light Game of Thrones spot was really good. The Bud Light Knight was jousting. The mountain ended up crushing his head, and then a dragon shows up and burns the whole castle down. That was great. Some various other spots that apparently got good reviews. The Microsoft ad where the kids that had the special needs or kids that didn't have a hand or whatever were using special keypads and things to play video games, that was awesome. Tear-jerking, awesome, very emotional. Google had some good spots. Budweiser was okay. I thought the Stella Artois commercial was really good. You had the Sarah Jessica Parker show up like she's in Sex and the City, and they put a Cosmo in front of her, and she says, no, I want a Stella Artois. Then the dude from the Big Lebowski shows up, and the bartender's like, White Russian? He goes, no, I want a Stella Artois. So he mispronounced it. It was really good. The Washington Post had a good spot. All the journalists that have been killed in action, and how much they needed help. Obviously, I liked all of the movie previews; those were all good. I thought that the Pepsi spot with Steve Carell, followed by Cardi B and Lil Jon, was pretty good. Although kids today may not have any idea who Lil Jon is, or Steve Carell for that matter. But they know Cardi B. Lil Jon was in the okay. And Cardi B was okay. Her little thing. It was a bunch of that stuff. And then honestly, everything else kind of got lost in the ether. Everything else just kind of was blah. Mike says Todd Gurley had more rushing yards in the commercial than he did in the game. That is absolutely true. They were saying he had more touches in the commercial than he had in the game as well. So that's not nothing. So yes, that is also accurate. And then I think the rest of them were just kind of. I thought the Robot Kid from TurboTax. There was one commercial where it was kind of funny, but the rest of the time it was just sort of creepy looking. And then I never saw anything else that really blew me away. One thing that they say about the Pepsi spot, they started that with. Would Pepsi be okay, or is Pepsi okay?
Yeah.
Which kind of reminds everyone that nobody likes Pepsi. Everyone prefers Coke. So as they said it's kind of a self-own. Kind of agree with that. Sorry, did I say Peyton Manning about the 5 rings? It was Tom Brady. Sorry. It's the fumes, Rogers.
No,
the fumes are getting to me. Tom Brady handed his 5 rings.
I wasn't sure if I heard you right.
Yeah. Someone corrected me.
Really.
Yeah.
It sounds like they at least stopped next door.
Yeah. Again, a lot of fumes going on here. Thank you for the correction from the texter. Yeah, it obviously meant Tom Brady on that one. And then there were a few others that just nothing really did anything. And then there was the whole corn syrup thing where, the Bud Light people were bringing the corn syrup, bringing it over to the, is this yours? This yours? No. They're basically talking about how they don't use corn syrup when they brew their beer, which is neither here nor there. It's not high fructose corn syrup. It's not the bad stuff. It's just regular corn syrup. So who cares? Like, I don't care what. Rogers, do you care what's in your Budweiser?
No.
Yeah, exactly. People who drink that stuff, like, if you're drinking craft beer, if your big thing is, I'm going to go to, try these various local brews or what, you probably care what's in your beer. If you're drinking Bud Light,
absolutely there. You're right.
If you're drinking Bud Light or Miller Light or Coors Light
it
or
ought to be
Budweiser,
about the same.
Hey, here's the thing: you probably don't care what's actually in it. Look, if you're eating McDonald's, you probably don't care that the chicken McNuggets may or may not be made of chicken. All right. All I'm saying is these people that I think you're kind of in the wrong audience with this, right? If that was a microbrew, and you're like, hey, we don't use corn syrup, there's people that probably, there's some people that care about
know
that.
their ingredients to the brew that they like.
Hey,
absolutely.
If you're kicking back with a 12-pack of Budweiser or Bud Light or Miller Light, chances are you don't give a damn what's in it.
Yeah, you stopped at a convenience store, picked it up out of their freezer.
And then I thought the weirdest commercial of them all was the Andy Warhol Burger King commercial. Literally, they used an old ad where Andy Warhol takes a burger out of a Burger King bag, tries to open a bottle of ketchup. A lot of people thought it was a ketchup commercial, even though the bag said Burger King. It was clearly obvious. And he just starts eating a burger, and you can tell it's Andy Warhol. He's got that weird hair, the weird white. I was the only person that knew who he was at the Super Bowl party. I said, that's Andy Warhol. And everybody's like, who? No, what? Huh? I was like, that's Andy Warhol. And then I said, wait, is it Andy Warhol? I'm pretty sure it is. And then at the end they said, eat like Andy Warhol or whatever. I was like, yeah, see, or no, eat like Andy. I was like, see, I was right, Andy Warhol. Anyway, we'll talk more about the Super Bowl, maybe even some of the commercials with John Orand. He is coming your way next. One of the best writers at Sports Business Journal will talk to us about Super Bowl coverage and what the ratings mean. That's next on the Patrick Netherton Show.
Never been before. He left yesterday behind him. You might say he was born again. You might say he found the key for every door. When he first came to the mountain.
Welcome to Walk-On's Bistro and Bar, where every dish starts from scratch. Fresh ingredients bring our food to life. Mouth-watering cuisine, unique flavors, and we're always more than happy to share our Southern charm and culture. A love of life, family, food, friends, fun, sports, and celebrations. Walk-Ons. It's game day with the taste of Louisiana.
I'm dreading this. These utility bills.
Well, it is wintertime.
Oh, not so bad. See? This is what I've been telling you, sweetie.
Oh, my gosh. Look how much money we saved.
Compared to 3 years ago before we had AccuTemp. Come out and start our maintenance plan. I'm telling you, we're paying less for heat now than we did back in the 50s.
It really works.
It's amazing. AccuTemp. I'm telling you, get your unit maintenanced by the fine folks at AccuTemp. Save you money. 861-2255, 861-2255.
At Navy Federal Credit Union, we help our members execute missions every day, like Operation...
Transfer money to my kids' college savings from this desert outpost, which, believe it or not, has pretty amazing Wi-Fi.
Or Operation...
Talk to a real person day or night about my finances, because I live life 24/7.
Exclusive membership benefits and service with Navy Federal. It's how everyday life missions are accomplished. Join today. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Open to the armed forces, the DoD, veterans, and their families. Insured by NCUA.
Honk, honk. Joining us on our little hotline here is good old Nicole. How you doing, Nicole?
I'm doing great, Tim. How you doing?
Wonderful. First Choice Personnel, 797-7810. Honk, honk. We see a lot of 18-wheelers outside of our window here, Nicole. And I wonder, is there a need in that field of work that First Choice Personnel could take care of?
Yes. Actually, we need diesel mechanics. We're looking for them with experience, with your own tools. We need them really bad right now.
Diesel mechanics are needed right now at First Choice Personnel. Honk, honk. 797-7810. And by the way, these sound effects aren't costing you an extra dime at all. First Choice Personnel.
It's time for some straight talk. It's tax refund time. Hallelujah. What are you going to do with all that glorious extra cash? A new drone? No, it'll end up in the tree. Here's a better plan. Try Straight Talk Wireless and get 25 gigs of high-speed data for just $45 a month. All on America's best 4G LTE networks. Plus, save up to $200 on a Samsung Galaxy S9 with in-store activation. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart.
See terms at straighttalk.com.
We have been preaching this for so long, but it's nice to hear it from other sources as well. Gibbsland Bank and Trust certainly knows about customer service. The Minden Press-Herald, our buddies over there in Webster Parish, just voted Gibbsland Bank and Trust the best bank and best customer service in Webster Parish. How you like them apples? You want great customer service? You want Gibbsland Bank and Trust, the great banking team.
A good time is in the air. It's the Patrick Netherton Show.
KWKH, Shreveport, Bossier City.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, runner at first. The pitch, swing and a miss. Tigers win! Tigers win!
We've come a long, long way together. Through the hard times and the good. I have to celebrate you, baby. I have to praise you like I should.
We welcome you back to the Patrick Netherton Show right here on 1130 The Tiger, Shreveport, Louisiana. And you can follow along with us if you like on Facebook, facebook.com/Netherton Show, on Twitter at Netherton Show, or me at PT Netherton. You can also find this man on Twitter. He is the media reporter for the Sports Business Journal. He is a guy that you definitely want to follow if you have an interest in the media aspect of sports. This is the guy. He's a must follow. You can follow him at Orand_SBJ, OURAND_SBJ for Sports Business Journal. He is John Orand. John, how are you, man?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm good. Long time no chat. It's been a little while.
I know, it's been too long.
Yeah, it has been. Well, they wouldn't let me on the air for a long time, John. So, it happens sometimes. I wasn't just going to call you from the house.
The statute of limitations is over, Patrick?
Yeah, I
is
think
that right?
so. I think my non-compete from Sirius XM is finally up, and I'm finally allowed back on the air. John, obviously, the biggest sporting event of the year was just held. There's always interest in ratings and how it all looked, how everything went down. We've seen all the headlines. Ratings are down. Compared to itself, certainly. But I think it's fair to say it's still going to be the largest single television event that's going to be watched all year.
Yeah, there are two ways of looking at it. One is the ratings dropped below 100. The viewership dropped below 100 million viewers for the first time in a decade. So that is substantial. That does make you sort of arch your eyebrow and say, what's going on with this? But at more than 98 million viewers, it is guaranteed. We're in February, but it is guaranteed to be the number one show all year, the most watched show all year by tens of millions of viewers. I mean, there's nothing else even comes close to the Super Bowl numbers. So on one level, the fact that it dropped 7 million, or a little bit less than that actually, it doesn't really matter a whole bunch. It's still a huge number that TV doesn't bring out anymore. But really, I mean, I remember a decade ago I was writing stories about the first time they went over 100 million. That was a big deal. And that now coming back down under 100 million, it's a pretty big deal too. So it's something that bears watching.
We see ratings and you see the number and it's kind of a nebulous thing for those that aren't in, the television industry. If you can explain to us, you see like, oh, this TV show did a 2-1 rating and then they give you a number for a share a lot of times. Kind of explain to the listening audience what a rating actually is.
Yeah, you know what is so funny is that 2-1 rating or whatever. It's so difficult to explain. That's why I always talk about viewers and viewership, which is the 100 million viewers. But essentially, there's a company called Nielsen that puts what they call a ratings box into people's homes, and they do a cross section of the country. I'm not sure how many boxes are out there, but they don't rate everybody's TV. They just kind of take this sample and apply it across the entire country. So I'm not a Nielsen rated household, so they don't rate what I watch at home. But somebody down the street might be, and they'll be able to do it. So sometimes a lot of these ratings will differ because maybe they'll take out a sports fan and put in a non-sports fan instead. Because you don't keep them for life; you keep them for a period of a couple of years. But it's it's an inexact science, but it is how they end up selling advertising. So it's a very important number for the networks and for the advertisers and everybody else associated with the big game.
Technologically, haven't we reached the point where we could just do this all and not have to worry about someone putting a box in their house? I mean, haven't we reached the point now where we can actually just kind of figure out what people are watching?
We reached that point probably 20 years ago. I mean, Comcast and these cable operators can tell you in their systems to the second what people are watching and how often they're watching. And so we've had that technology that's out there, but there are a lot of privacy concerns that are associated with that. Trying to get Comcast to share their data with DirecTV or share that data with Charter or all these other distributors is an impossibility. So that won't happen. So right now we're really just kind of depending on a third party like Nielsen to figure that out.
The one thing that these companies do very well is they do like to hype their online viewership. They love to hype how many people watch through their app, through Facebook, whatever their multiple platforms are that they're broadcasting on. We may not be able to get a TV rating, but it feels like we get a pretty accurate online viewership rating.
You'd be surprised actually. The viewership rating we get that comes from the company.
Right.
So the one thing that Nielsen does bring is that they're third party, so they don't care one way or another. So if a network is saying, "Oh, this many people watched online," you have no way to verify that. So you sort of take those numbers. But the one big story coming from this, the one big good story coming from this year's Super Bowl is streaming numbers were up across the board, and if you add in all those streaming numbers, you do get a viewing figure that's over 100 million. But that's the 98 million viewership. That's for CBS alone.
I know that it's always a little bit nebulous to ask about what you think the future holds, but we've seen so much with cable cutting and people going away from the Comcast, the DirecTVs, going to sort of a la carte programming. Do you foresee a time when the TV may not be the major way that people get their watch or their viewership, that we could see devices becoming the number one viewership at some point? Could that happen in the future?
That could happen in the future, but it's way off in the future. I think what you're more likely to see is, cord cutting is happening, and cable networks are losing subscribers. But what's not losing subscribers are the broadcast networks, and you're seeing a sort of rush to broadcast. You're seeing Fox, for example, on their broadcast channel. They're filling their broadcast channel with live sports. ABC is starting to put more live sports on their broadcast channel. And the sports leagues would rather go to broadcast, which really hits almost everybody in America, rather than do a deal with Google or do a deal with Amazon, where people aren't necessarily, they might have more money at Google and Amazon, but you would end up going to fewer viewers there because it's sort of not as ubiquitous as broadcast. But that's a statement for 2019. In 2039, 10 years ago, the iPhone was a relatively new thing, and there wasn't a lot of video, and that certainly changed in the past decade. So it's changing very rapidly in that regard.
Well, look, in 2039, we'll all be watching TV out of the microchip implanted in our brains. We know that's where we're headed to.
Will you still have me on your show in 2039?
If I'm alive, John. I may not make it through today with all we got construction going on here at the radio station. I may not survive today with all the paint fumes that are floating around in the air. I'm talking to John
paint chips. Uh-oh.
Yeah, look, I definitely feel like Tommy Boy. I definitely ate paint chips as a kid and grew up under power lines while I was at it. Talking to John Oran, media reporter from Sports Business Journal. And I'm curious because, you mentioned live programming, and that is, even to me, I even look at the broadcast networks and the amount of live programming they're now putting on that isn't sports. They're doing Rent Live, they're doing all these musicals, Jesus Christ Superstar. I mean, they're putting all this stuff, all this live programming out. In the end, is that the only safe, DVR-free programming is live?
Right now it is, and that's been the trend for the past couple of years. I mean, the Academy Awards is coming on soon, and that's going to draw a really big number. The problem with entertainment programming is, from the advertiser's point of view, is that you can sit down and binge watch an entire series on Netflix, and you can, so there's no. You don't have to watch that live. This isn't like the must-see TV in the late 80s and 90s, on NBC, where you would come back the next day and talk about the Seinfeld or the Friends shows. There's a lot more binge watching, and when there's a lot more binge watching, there's a lot more fast-forwarding through commercials, and it's harder for advertisers. So advertisers value people who watch it live because then you have to sit through those commercials, and that's why all these broadcast networks are going toward sports and other live programming.
I'm telling you what, I don't get there. You will not find me more angry than when Hulu does an advertising stop in the middle of my show to go do, and it might be 35 seconds worth of advertising, and I'm mad because I can't get rid of it. I can't fast forward it. I have to just sit there and take it. We have definitely.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah. 20 years ago, you would sit through 5-minute commercial pods that just pop up in the middle of a half-hour show.
Now, if Hulu takes a break, I'm hacked. I'm not going to lie. I'm mad. The good news is, I got my Hulu password from 7 different guys removed, so I don't have to worry about it too much.
Yeah, I'm paying for my son's Netflix account. He's up in Philly at school. Exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of how it works. Hey, John, let's talk about obviously near and dear to the folks here in Louisiana, New Orleans. It came out. New Orleans was the very lowest rated market. I believe they monitor the top 56 metered markets. They were number 56, and yet the net effect was not big because New Orleans is a small media market. But I'm curious, even though it was less than a 200,000 household impact overall, is the rating number being less than half of what it was last year? And New Orleans is usually one of the best neutral NFL towns in terms of watching other games. Is that something that the league will probably take a look at, be aware of, be concerned about, or do they say, you know what, it doesn't matter because it's still less than 200,000 homes because of how small New Orleans is?
I don't think they're making a decision based on how small New Orleans is. I think they would be making a decision based on the fact that, it feels like a one-off. Fans in New Orleans were really hacked off about this season and these playoffs and frankly, that call in that game.
Yeah.
And so the carry-on effect from that is happening. But that made New Orleans fans less likely to watch this Super Bowl, but I don't think it made them less of NFL fans. So I would be surprised if this boycott went on to next year, and I would especially be surprised if the boycott happened for Saints games. And once they sort of get them in there, then I expect New Orleans will be back. But they certainly weren't there for the Super Bowl this year.
No, and it was pretty striking. And I honestly, I applauded New Orleans, John, because they said, "Look, we're all tuning out," and they did. They put. I
love New Orleans, and that's exactly why they had no interest in it, and they stuck with it. I can't say that I would have stuck with it for a Super Bowl, but I thought that was great.
Yeah, and by the way, the entertainment that was going on in New Orleans was a lot more exciting and fun to watch than anything going on in the Super Bowl. I can tell you that. It was not much of a game.
Especially this year, yeah.
Yeah, it was. I'm curious, when you look at ratings and what goes into a rating, especially for a huge event like this, and you mentioned, it's a $7 million drop in viewership. Is it the game? Is it the Patriots fatigue? Is it, some effect from New Orleans? Is it all of those things? Like, how do they rationalize a drop in the ratings like this?
The funny thing about talking about ratings is that there's always a million reasons for why a game increasing ratings or decreasing ratings, and they're all generally correct. I was talking to CBS executives before the Super Bowl, and they were pretty excited because of the Arctic weather pattern was hitting the U.S., and weather plays a big part in whether TV ratings go up or down. If it's cold and snowy outside, ratings go up. If it's a beautiful day, ratings go down. A lot of the TV people that I've spoken to yesterday and today, just take a look at, they say the game was really, it was just so slow and uninteresting. It was less of a defensive struggle and more of just like offenses making mistakes. And for casual fans that tune into the Super Bowl, there was nothing about that game that sort of would keep them there.
You mentioned earlier about how nothing will ever get close this year, the rest of the year, to the rating that the Super Bowl puts up. What usually is behind the Super Bowl in terms of ratings? Like what generates a big rating in a non-sports element?
The opening ceremony for the Olympics every 2 years generally is up there. A World Cup final is generally up there. I mentioned the Academy Awards. Yeah. They generally bring in a huge amount. And the AFC and NFC championships will be in the top 5 almost certainly this year as well.
Isn't it interesting, though, that of all the stuff you mentioned, sports were all of them but the Academy Awards?
No, yeah, exactly. But it's the Academy Awards. It's live programming. That's why you're seeing a lot more reality type of shows or contest type of shows on networks, because they're just trying to replicate that sports experience in a way where they don't have to pay billions of dollars for sports rights.
Talking to John Oran from Sports Business Journal, media reporter for them. All right, assess Nance and Romo for the Super Bowl. All the talk was about Romo and Romo Stradamus or whatever they called him, being able to predict plays. I thought he kind of laid off of that a little bit. He had a little bit of it mixed in, but seemed off. And he even at one point admitted that the game was unwatchable, which I thought was interesting. Maybe a little bit of a slip of the tongue there. How did you rate how they did together?
I'm a big fan of this broadcast crew, like many other sort of media critics out there. I think that first of all, Nance is just a pro. His silky smooth voice, and he knows how to get in and get out of certain situations. And Tony Romo, everybody talks about how he predicts plays, but I think the reason that he's popular isn't because he sits there and predicts plays. I think he's popular because he shows a real genuine enthusiasm for the game. And so, like during the AFC Championship game, he wasn't predicting plays as much as he was sort of almost like in your den right next to you, shouting loud, "Oh my gosh, this is going to happen next," And I think in the Super Bowl he didn't do that as much because there weren't as many offensive plays, and so he wasn't able to. But he also was just kind of real enough that he did, and at one point talk about how it was tough to. He didn't say unwatchable; he said tough to watch.
Right.
So he didn't get into trouble with that. But he's honest with the viewers, and I think that's something that viewers take to heart because not everybody shares that enthusiasm and honesty that I think that he brings to football telecasts.
I will tell you, as a play-by-play guy myself, I think he's done more for Jim Nance than anyone realizes. Nance's level has gone up so much because of what Romo brings in terms of energy.
Oh, absolutely. But I have a question for you then.
Yeah.
I feel like Jim Nance, a lot of times Tony Romo steps on where Nance should be or a play-by-play should be, and Nance has sort of a gravitas to sort of step away and let Romo kind of do that, which I find to be unique.
Well, one of the things that I always, if you listen to radio play-by-play, John, one of the things I always find interesting is when the color guy resets something. Oh, that's going to be 2nd and 3, with 1:42 left to go here in the third quarter and the score 18-10. That's not what he's supposed to be doing. And I think in that regard, what you're talking about is, sometimes you'll hear Romo give down and distance, which is normally what the play-by-play guy is supposed to do. But Nance, I think, to his credit, is wise enough to say, you know what, it's not hurting anything, and it's actually helping because it continues to make Romo so infectiously enthusiastic. And I think that helps. I think Nance is smart enough to understand that Romo is kind of the star.
Right. Couldn't agree more. And I find them to be really a listenable crew, which I just think that they immediately vaulted into, the top echelon of the NFL in my opinion.
Yeah, it was amazing. And by the way, for those that don't know, in radio, the play-by-play guy is the star. In television, the color analyst is the star.
By far,
yeah.
yes.
And then, of course, until you get to the top crews where you got the Al Michaels and Joe Bucks and whatnot, in which case there's some equality there. John, thank you so much for the time today, man. I really appreciate it. Look forward to getting you back on as things progress and assuming they allow me to stay on the air.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. Always good to talk to you.
All right, John Oran from Sports Business Journal. Fantastic guy, fantastic reporter. Again, if you don't follow him, you should, at Orand_SBJ. Oran spelled OURAND_SBJ. If you're fascinated by ratings, if you're fascinated by media reports about how broadcast teams work, that kind of thing, there's folks you definitely want to follow, and John Orand is one of them. So good stuff there from Mr. Orand of Sports Business Journal. Let's take a break. When we come back, we still got to discuss a little bit about the Missouri sanctions. We'll talk about that. More about Art Briles, if you want to get into that. Should Art Briles be given an opportunity to be the offensive coordinator of Southern Miss when the investigation into his conduct at Baylor hasn't even been finished yet? We'll talk all about that. More Super Bowl thoughts if you like. We can talk about that as well. It's the Patrick Netherton Show with R. Edward Hampton here on 1130 The Tiger.
Have you seen all the trucks on Uri Drive? And I'm not talking about the ones swerving to miss potholes.
No, I know what you mean. 7500 Uri Drive, Chevy Land. What did you call that place again?
The Land of Chevys.
The Land of Chevys at Chevy Land. Sweetie, all those 2018 Silverados we see out front when we're driving down, you're going to start seeing a lot fewer of them.
What? Why?
$12,000 off select 2018 Chevy Silverado Crew Cab LTs. That's what I said, Allie.
Oh, they're on sale.
$12,000 off select 2018 Chevy Silverado Crew Cab LTs. I'm not going to say it a third time.
You should.
Chevy Land. We care about you. 7500 Uri Drive in Shreveport, Louisiana.
What's in store for your business this week at Staples?
Your promotion to chairperson.
Right now, during Staples Chair Event, you can save up to 40% on a huge selection of chairs for your home or office.
Up to 40% off chairs fit for a boss. Like this week, the Staples Merit Desk Chair is just $99.99. You save $70.
So congratulations on being named Chairman of Great Deals.
Save up to 40% during the chair event. Right now at Staples, where there's a whole lot in store.
Ends 2/9/19 while supplies last.
You started a DIY project at home. Then you realize convenience isn't always easy. The why in DIY doesn't mean why is this so hard. At ADT, we DIFY. Do it for you. We customize and install a secure smart home that you control from the palm of your hand or the sound of your voice. Smart security, designed and installed just for you with ADT. Visit ADT.com/smart to learn more. License information available at ADT.com. ADT. Real protection.
Yo, we driving, we living our best life and my car smells fresh.
Yeah,
but we
boy.
weren't always thriving, it was you, girl.
Told you so.
Who pointed out that smell? Right. Now it's all fun, the odor's gone. Febreze car works so well, come on, keep driving, let's go.
Oh boy, your car smells
Febreze
nice.
car, yeah, let's go. That's right. No more odors in my ride, now let's go.
Oh yeah, we made it so nice.
Febreze car, keep riding, let's go. And now the world can sing.
Breathe happy, Febreze.
La 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 la.
With the Capital One Quicksilver Card, you earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase everywhere. It's easy. That's just the way I like it. Oh, that's the way, I like it, That's the way, I like it, Woo! The Quicksilver Card from Capital One. What's in your wallet? That's the way,
Capital One Bank, USA, NA.
During Aaron's anniversary sale, celebration is in the air. Get started leasing to own with just $5. Plus save big on TVs, laptops, washers and dryers, and so much more. With no credit needed and free delivery and setup. Come, celebrate with us at participating stores or aarons.com. From February 1st through the 10th, $5 gets you started leasing to own during Aaron's anniversary sale. P.S. Most stores are now open on Sundays nationwide. Transaction advertised as a rental purchase agreement. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
At Navy Federal Credit Union, we help our members execute missions every day, like Operation...
Oh, no, you don't. You got the check last time.
Besides, I want the points for our fishing trip coming up. It's going to take four-wheelers and a canoe to find the perfect spot this time.
Apply now to start earning triple points at restaurants, double points on gas, and single points everywhere else with the Go Rewards credit card from Navy Federal. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Open to the armed forces, the DoD, veterans, and their families. Insured by NCUA.
With this job, having two hands won't cut it, which is why I thank the stars I have a third. Grainger. When my two hands are full, I fully rely on Grainger. They're America's #1 source for industrial-grade supplies. So, whether I'm fixing a furnace or fastening a faucet, Grainger hands me what I need when I need it, which makes me a pretty lucky guy. Because when it comes to needing an extra hand, Grainger's got your back. Call or click Grainger.com to see for yourself. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
At Discover, we believe anniversaries should be a time of celebration, not obligation. That's why we think annual fees are ridiculous. And now, just for giving us a try, we're going to give new card members a one-year anniversary gift they'll never forget. At the end of your first year, we'll match all the cash back you've earned dollar for dollar. No caps and no catches, because we know if you try us, you'll like us. And that's worth every penny. Try it and believe it at discover.com/match. Cashback match offer only for new card members. Limitations apply.
It was her first concert, so we were nervous.
Well, Dad was.
And thanks to Total Wireless, we got her the phone she loved.
It's amazing.
On the nation's largest, most dependable 4G LTE network for a lot less than you'd expect. Now we can always stay connected.
Does it have to be always, Dad?
Hey.
You got this with Total Wireless. Get the nation's largest and most dependable 4G LTE network for $25 per line for 4 lines. Available at Walmart for an everyday low price. Total Wireless, total confidence. Please refer to the latest terms and conditions at TotalWireless.com.
Nicole joins us from First Choice Personnel, and they've got jobs, and more jobs, including the clerical field.
Right, Tim. Right now, with clerical positions, we have administrative assistant positions. We have positions for bookkeepers, basic clerical, receptionists, anything right now. If somebody's actually looking for a job or people looking for employees, we have a lot of what you're looking for.
There's even a superhero. They call him Captain Clerical at First Choice Personnel, 797-7810.
Let's get to the meat of the matter with producer Rogers Hampton.
Hey, boy!
Here's your master of ceremonies, Patrick Netherton.
11:30 The Tiger, your home for LSU sports, powered by Jack Spring Electric, where Shreveport and Bossier come for LSU sports. 11:30 The Tiger.
Back on the Patrick Netherton Show, 11:30 The Tiger, Rogers Hampton, Patrick Netherton. Which one of us is which? You'll just have to figure that out if you're new to the show. Does the guy who talks most, is that Patrick Netherton? Or is the guy who talks least Patrick Netherton? Like, wouldn't it be weird if it was the Patrick Netherton Show and you were Patrick Netherton instead of me? Like, that would be very strange. Instead, Rogers is doing hand puppets right now. All right, Raj. No more hand puppets. Less Fine Young Cannibals and less hand puppetry while we're at it. Couple of news and notes, couple things to get to. We're going to talk about the Anthony Davis situation coming up in just a bit. We also need to get to the Mizzou situation because it's very interesting. My question of the day basically is, do you believe that Art Briles should get another chance, especially considering the fact that the investigation into him and to Baylor football is not finished yet? Do you think that it should be, he should be kind of in coaching purgatory, coaching in Florence, Italy, as he was last year, until such a time as the investigation is done? I kind of tend to think he should not be hired as a coach until the investigation is finished. I'm kind of on that platform. That's where I'm at right now. Would like your thoughts. Of course, you can text the show at 318-6570-HAM, 657-0426. You can call the show at 318-320-1130, 318-320-1130. I've got a couple of texts. I mentioned that this is going back about 30 minutes ago. I mentioned that if you're going to, we were talking about the corn syrup thing and how if you're drinking Bud Light, like you probably don't care what's in your beer. Like you're not that concerned about it. If you're drinking Coors or Miller, chances are you're not a snob about beer, and so you're not worried about what the concentration of hops and barley is versus water content, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's kind of, I think that's pretty safe to say. I mentioned if you're eating at McDonald's, chances are you're not worried about what the content of the food you're eating is because you're eating McDonald's, right? You don't care if the chicken McNuggets are chicken. By the way, chicken McNuggets, one of my favorite things to eat in the entire world. I'll get a 20-piece in a heartbeat when I'm coming back from Natchitoches after games. I get a 20-piece and a double quarter pounder and a big Diet Coke, and I'm on the road. But 318 number texted in a bit ago and said, you might now care that your taco has beef tongue in it, too. I was like, yeah, maybe. I might care that my taco has beef tongue in it. Cow tongue is a little bit of a different thing. 318 number says, one question, what do you think of the Alliance of American Football? That starts this weekend, I believe. We talked to Phil Savage, about a month ago now, who is the general manager of the Arizona Hotshots of the Alliance of American Football. I'm interested. There's a few names and remember. I like that it's sort of geographically based like the old USFL was. And by the way, there's a book called Football for a Buck about the USFL. Was written by a guy named Jeff Pearlman. We're going to have Jeff Pearlman on here in the next couple of weeks to discuss that. That's kind of a after everything is, we can kind of settle down and have a little time to devote to some other subjects. But we're going to talk about the USFL in light of the Alliance of American Football because they're kind of following the USFL's pattern of, hey, let's do regional, every franchise has certain teams, certain colleges that are kind of their feeder systems. They can, get guys from these spots, that kind of thing. So I think it'll be interesting. I'm not sure I'll tune in live early on, but I'll probably follow the results, kind of see what's going on, see the names, who are the guys that are going to be playing. I mean, Steve Spurrier's in the league. That's obviously a big name. That's good stuff. So it'll kind of be interesting. I'm very much looking forward to it. By the way, Raj, I don't know if you know this or not, but the NFL has released the draft order for the upcoming NFL draft.
All righty.
Yeah. Do you know where the draft is held this year? They started moving it. It used to always be in Madison Square Garden.
I do not.
Where was it last year? Was it Chicago? Is that right? It was in Chicago one year, but I don't remember if that was last year or not.
I don't either. I think they're supposed to hit Vegas soon, aren't they?
Probably.
Okay.
Rogers, the draft this year, Nashville.
Really?
I had no idea. I'll be honest with you. I had zero clue that the draft upcoming is in Nashville. First round of the draft, or first round is Thursday, April the 25th. Then second and third rounds on the 26th, and the rest of the rounds on Saturday the 27th, all in Nashville. Rogers, do you know who has the first pick? Who had the worst record last year?
Oh, man. Buffalo or something like that?
Buffalo, 6-10 while you weren't looking.
Okay.
Much more respectable. Draco says next year it'll be at the Century Tel, which is actually now the Century Link, by the way, while you weren't looking. Arizona Cardinals have the first pick.
Okay.
3-13 on the year with young QB Josh Rosen. They fired their coach
after 1 year.
Yeah, after 1 year, kind of a crappy thing to do. Second, so three teams tied at 4-12. Okay. The 49ers get the second pick. The Jets get the third pick. The Raiders get the fourth pick. Then three teams tied at 5-11. Tampa Bay gets pick number 5. The Giants get number 6. The Jaguars get number 7. Four teams tied at 6-10. The Lions get the 8th pick, the Bills at 9, the Broncos at 10, the Bengals, who, by the way, just introduced their head coach, who was the offensive coordinator for the Rams, the LA Rams. They just introduced him because, again, you're not allowed to hire coaches during playoffs, which is so weird. Also, the Dolphins taking New England's defensive coordinator, Brian Flores. So the Lions, Bills, Broncos, Bengals, at number 12, all by themselves with their 6-9-1 record, the Green Bay Packers, Then 4 teams at 7 and 9, Dolphins, Falcons, Redskins, and Panthers. How about this? The Cleveland Browns, pick 17. If I had told you before the season that the Cleveland Browns would have the 17th pick, you would say, oh, well, you mean they traded down from 1, 2, or 3 to get more picks? That's what they did? Vikings at 18, Titans at 19, Steelers at 20, Seahawks 21, Ravens 22. Your Texans, Raj, with the 23rd pick in the NFL draft. A little too good, but not good enough. Then the Bears are supposed to be the 24th pick, but they traded that to Oakland. That was in the Khalil Mack deal. Then the Eagles at 25, the Colts at 26. We finally see the Cowboys, Raj, at 27. But, oh, by the way, they traded that pick to Oakland for
Amari
Cooper. Very good.
So no first-round pick?
No first-round pick for the Cowboys. The Chargers are 28. The Chiefs are 29.
Chief.
Raj, who haven't we talked about yet?
We haven't talked about the Who-Dats?
We have not. At number 30, the New Orleans Saints. Here's the problem, Raj. They traded that pick to Green Bay
to move up in the draft, all right?
So, no pick in the first round for the Saints, unless they trade some pieces or move up, whatever. No first round pick for the Saints. Rams at 31, and the Patriots have the final pick in the draft at 32. So that is your draft order again in Nashville, which again I had no idea the NFL draft was being held in Nashville. No clue. So the question du jour is, do you believe or do you think that Art Briles should have the opportunity to be a coach at the Division I level or anywhere in the NCAA while the investigation is still ongoing? 318 asked me, after he asked about the Alliance of American Football, he said, do you think it'll last? It will last if they don't do what the USFL did. And the USFL made a huge mistake in that, and I know this is going to make everyone mad because I'm talking about politics, but it has nothing to do with politics. They let Donald Trump in. And Donald Trump came in and basically said, well, we're not going to be a spring league anymore. We're going to be a fall league. Now, the rest of the ownership didn't want that. And before they let Trump in, they started going away from their own principles of money management. They had a very strong, and it wasn't written into the bylaws. It wasn't like they had to follow this, but it was basically, hey, we're going to make sure we're fiscally responsible here. We're not going to overpay guys. We're not going to go out and, break the bank for draft picks. Everything's going to be pretty even keel. We're going to keep things where they are. And then they had a couple of owners who didn't like that idea, and they went out and broke the bank for Herschel Walker. They went out and broke the bank for Steve Young. They went out and broke the bank for Jim Kelly. They started spending a lot of money, and they didn't have the financial resources to do that. This was just ownership coming out of its pockets. Meanwhile, other ownership groups were failing to pay their players. I mean, we'll probably have Rick Neuheisel on at some point. He was the quarterback of the San Antonio team, and there's great stories in that. Again, Football for a Buck with Jeff Pearlman. Great stories about how basically if you weren't among the first 10 or 15 guys to go get your paycheck from San Antonio's management, your check was going to bounce. If you were guy 30 and you went and got your check and went to the bank, all the money was gone by the time you went to cash your check. So there was runs on that. They went weeks without being paid. There's a lot of stuff. So I think the Alliance of American Football lasts, but only if it's smart enough to not be irresponsible, especially in the first couple of years, right? You have to understand you're a fledgling league, right? You're going to get the cast-offs from the NFL. You're not going to compete with the NFL, and you shouldn't try to compete with the NFL. So what happened is, first, the USFL started paying too much money to its players, and then they let Donald Trump have a franchise, and he basically strong-armed everyone else into trying to make it a fall sport and challenge the NFL. And basically no one was having that. They end up going to court. Trump sues the NFL for having basically a monopoly on football, on professional football. The crazy thing is Trump actually won that lawsuit. The USFL beat the NFL in court. The problem is the damages they were given was $1. That's why it's called football for $1. And actually the damages were, as they say, trebled or tripled because of whatever the law is there. You have to triple the damages in this sort of instance legally. And so ultimately there was a check for like $3 and something that is still uncashed, that is still sitting in a safe deposit box somewhere that Jeff Pearlman actually got to see. So yeah, the Alliance of American Football will be okay if they understand who they are and what they are. Let's talk about Mizzou real quickly, and then we got to get to Anthony Davis. I keep saying I'm going to go back and talk more in depth about the Mizzou penalties. But basically what you find is Mizzou cooperated after a whistleblower, a tutor, basically said, I was pressed, I was pressured, I was told that I needed to pass these particular players, these guys on the football team, baseball team, whatever, basketball team, et cetera, et cetera. So the Mizzou folks cooperated, and they cooperated to make sure that they would receive the least harsh penalty that they could. Well, it didn't exactly work in cooperating with the NCAA. The NCAA threw down the hammer. Football, baseball, softball teams all with a 1-year postseason ban, scholarship reductions, recruiting restrictions. In the report, the NCAA said, quote, Missouri did the right thing in cooperating with the investigation, but also said the tutor, Yolanda Kumar, was complicit, even though she was the whistleblower. Right? She's the one who went and said, hey, I did all this stuff, but I felt pressured by my higher-ups. Well, in the course of the investigation, they couldn't find evidence that she was indeed pressured by her higher-ups or that, she didn't know better or whatever. So she's gotten a 10-year show cause penalty, which basically means if she wants to work in athletics in any way on the NCAA level, she is going to have to, along with her school, go to court and prove why the NCAA should allow her back in before that 10-year show cause penalty is up. And now the backlash has been absolutely crazy. The chair of the board of curators at Missouri saying that the unjust sanctions would lead member schools to, quote, question the need for the NCAA as a governing body. A dangerous precedent has been set. When an individual acts independently of their employer, violates rules, commits extortion, and shops her accusations to the highest bidder, why would that institution be punished unjustly after doing the right thing? Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the SEC, chimed in, said that he stands ready to advise and assist Missouri in its appeal. Barry Odom, the football coach, says, we're going on attack. Bring it on. The chief hearing officer for the infractions panel, David Roberts, said that the tutor, along with the school and NCAA, all agreed that infractions took place, and at that point it comes down to applying the penalties. There's a U.S. senator who's getting involved. There's a whole bunch of stuff there. The AD is going to be involved. They're going to protest, appeal, all of this stuff. But it just goes, again, to show the murky nature of the biggest sports at the highest level of athletics. And I think that's one of the major things that you're seeing with this case. And, the whistleblower, the tutor in this case, who says she felt pressured and put upon by the higher-ups, her superiors, to pass a lot of these various players, she gets a 10-year show cause because she did it, and the NCAA didn't find her necessarily believable in that what she did was not act as a rogue agent, but that, she was actually being pressured by her higher up. So a lot of layers to this. We'll get some legal folks on this at some point. We'll bring in some NCAA law types. We'll get them on as we move along into the slow days of summer. We'll start talking a little bit more about this and get some folks on that can put some illumination on this a little bit better than myself or attorney at law R. Edward Hampton. All right. There he is. Let's talk Anthony Davis when we come back. It's the Patrick Netherton Show, 1130 The Tiger. Call us at 320-1130. Text us at 657-0-HAM, 657-0426. Big signing day show for you tomorrow. We'll talk about that as well. What didn't Anthony Davis understand about his trade demands? That's next on the Patrick Netherton Show.
All around the world, statues crumble for me. Who knows how long I've loved you.
So often we talk Chevy Land and the beautiful new cars, trucks, and SUVs out there, and for good reason. I mean, my gosh, have you seen the Silverado? Have you seen that Camaro? I feel like we've neglected the service department. Here's what Christy J had to say. My service rep, Kenny, was very friendly and understanding, kept in touch with me, letting me know the status of my vehicle. He's knowledgeable of his job. I will recommend him to all my family and friends. He's excellent. John B. in Bossier said the service professionals did a great job. Great service at Chevy Land. You know it by the feeling. 7500 Uri Drive. 318-843-6228. 318-843-6228. That's the customer service line for Gibbsland Bank and Trust. Oh, we've had to use it a few times. And when we call, human beings answer the phone. Death to the machines. Long live the humans. That human touch, that personal touch from Gibbsland Bank and Trust customer service.
Welcome to Walk-On's Bistro and Bar, where every dish starts from scratch. Fresh ingredients bring our food to life. Mouth-watering cuisine, unique flavors, and we're always more than happy to share our Southern charm and culture. A love of life, family, food, friends, fun, sports, and celebrations. Walk-Ons. It's game day with the taste of Louisiana.
Do you dream in color, in sparkling blues, and sun-kissed yellows? In your dreams, do your kids trade technology for time with you? Is fun and relaxation the main agenda? Do your dreams shape your family life and bring you all great joy? Your dreams can be real and lasting, and you can live your dreams every day. Moorhead Pools, where your dreams come true in your own backyard.
The always pleasant Nicole from First Choice Personnel joins us on the line. And Nicole, you guys have got a position that, boy, this seems like this would be an easy one to fill, but you need some help with this. Let's go with it.
Yeah, I'm looking for a CNC or a manual machinist. If anyone knows someone who's looking, give me a call, 797-7810.
This position pays, what, $35 an hour?
Yeah, if we can find anyone, please, someone send them to me.
797-7810. Make some money. First Choice Personnel, 797-7810. I'm dreading this. These utility bills.
Well, it is wintertime.
Oh, not so bad. See, this is what I've been telling you, sweetie.
Oh, my gosh. Look how much money we saved.
Compared to 3 years ago before we had Accutem, come out as